Hello, in this video I'll be reviewing book 9 in the Ranger's Apprentice series, Halt's Peril. So, just be aware this video will be infested with spoilers. So this book I definitely think is one of the better Ranger's Apprentice books. I really like it. I think it basically has, as we've discussed many times throughout this reviewing this series, it has basically all the good points about Ranger's Apprentice. You know, the fun, great characters, like a cool, obvious, easy to follow sort of plot. And, you know, just fun and great interactions between the characters. So basically just got all this normal strengths for Ranger's Apprentice. But yeah, so let's dive into a couple of kind of specifics. So first of all, I enjoyed the start of this book, you know, when they're in Hibernia and tracking down Tennyson and stuff and trying to find him using their tracking skills, using their intuition and stuff just to try and track him down, which I thought was a cool kind of opener to the book. And once again, we just get a lot more banter and fun between Horace, Will, and Halt, which was cool. And then, of course, we kind of get into the second sort of part of a book. I would sort of split this book into kind of three sections. So there's a first section where we're chasing down Tennyson, trying to figure out sort of where he is, what's going on. And then we have the second part of a book where it's kind of a Giovanesian section where they're kind of dealing with these two Giovanesian assassins who are basically Italian assassins. I think it's probably a city-state in Italy that he's referencing specifically, but basically Italian assassins. And so Will and Halt have to deal with them. And then, of course, spoiler, Halt's peril is that he gets hit by a poisoned crossbow bolt, and then he has to deal with the effects of the poison, and Will has to obviously help him. So that's our kind of first section of the book is them chasing down Tennyson, and then I think our second section of the book is the strongest section by far. So we have the kind of, it's very fun seeing how Will and Halt deal with the Giovanesians and what they do. How they use their bow skills and their tracking skills to sort of outclass the Giovanesians, who are, as we're told in the story, are much more used to sort of city combat and that sort of thing. Firing crossbows from rooftops and that kind of ilk. So it's really fun to see how Will and Halt deal with them using kind of their woodcraft and camouflage skills, just basically all their ranger skills. That's what we're here for. It's called Ranger's Apprentice, so we're kind of vibing with that. So then they deal with one of the Giovanesians, and then it's quite cool to see that. I think the next kind of part of a book where they're dealing with Halt's poisoning, I think is so good, and I just really enjoy. It just felt very emotional and very tense. Obviously, their mentor and the Halt, one of the main characters of the series, is like dying. And of course, it is a sort of middle grade young adult book, so he's not going to die really. But if you suspend that sort of disbelief, I think it actually functions very well. Like I say, the stakes are high, attention is high. We get to see a bit more of a raw emotionality of the characters, and then of course it's fun to bring back Malcolm, our character we've seen before, to deal with the problem. It's kind of it's sort of a Chekhov's gun thing. You introduce a great healer, and it's like, well, at some point he's probably going to heal something. So we kind of get that returning to a book. And I really thought that this section of the book just functioned very well, and it was fun to see Will go after Giovanesian, and it was fun to see a bit of harshness to his character, where he's actually more than willing to kill the dude, with not too much remorse, because the dude's an absolute asshole. So it was quite cool to see that. And then of course we get into just the end of a book, which I understand is kind of concluding the arc of the last two books, where I have to finally deal with Tennyson. I think this was a little bit weaker. They kind of just walk in, debunk him, and then kill him. Which it's fine. In a cave. And I thought this was a bit weaker, but it's fine. It wraps up that kind of section of the story, and we get to kind of move on from these last two books. So yeah, it was just kind of Kings of Clonmel and Halt's Peril wrapped up at the end. Nice, pretty neat little bow. And at the very end of the book, it's just fun and satisfying. And, it's kind of relatively common for these Ranger's Apprentice books where, you just get a very nice, heartwarming end. And any other series, you could argue it would be sickly sweet, but I just kind of think that's just the vibe of these books, where they go back to, Redmond, Halt sees his wife, Will sees his girlfriend. It's just a good wholesome vibe. It's a big feast, just good vibes. Kind of reminds me of the end of Asterix books. You have a whole Asterix adventure, and then you have roast up a wild boar at the end, and that's kind of the end. And you could call it sickly sweet, but of course you wouldn't, because it's an Asterix book. And I think it's kind of the same here. It's like you could call it sickly sweet, but it's a Ranger's Apprentice book. We're vibing. We're having a good time. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book. Definitely one of the stronger Ranger's Apprentice books, and I had a great time. So would recommend.